What's up, everybody? It is Broken Havoc here, right here on the Broken Havoc podcast, here to review AEW Dynamite Fighter Fest Night 1. Quick overall thoughts on this show. This was an amazing show. The matches from top to bottom. I mean, my God, we started with an IWGP US title match to start off Fighter Fest. Overall thoughts, the crowd was amazing. We are getting more build with Hangman versus Omega. Of course, there's a lot of stuff that went down with the show. Of course, Cody Rhodes and Malakai Black just going at it out of nowhere. Wow, this show was really awesome. This was a complete home run for AEW, and it gets me excited to watch Dynamite next week. Of course, we had the main event, which was the Coffin Match with Darby Allin and Ethan Page, which was awesome to see. It was a really good Coffin Match to end off Dynamite. We had Penelope Ford go against Yuka Sakazaki, who made her return to AEW. But overall thoughts on this show, man, this was a really awesome show to see. I'm going to run down the show really quickly because I don't have enough time. But this show was really awesome to see. Of course, our first matchup of the evening was Jon Moxley versus Machine Gun Karl Anderson for the IWGP US Heavyweight title. Of course, this match was contested under New Japan Pro Wrestling rules, which was awesome to see. This is our second time on Dynamite that we had the IWGP United States title defended on the show. The last time, of course, Jon Moxley defended his IWGP US title against the legendary Yuji Nagata the week after Blood and Guts. It was an awesome match to see. Yuji Nagata looked great for his age. Moxley looked great. The match was awesome in general. This match was no exception. This match was really good to see. I really enjoyed what went down in this match. But right when Moxley came out, of course, Moxley made his return. He's now a father, by the way, so congratulations to Jon Moxley. Eddie Kingston out of nowhere attacks Doc Gallows on the outside before the match starts. But the match starts, the bell rings. Kingston and Gallows fight in the crowd. Moxley hits a couple chops in the corner. Both exchange forearms. Moxley gets the better of the forearm exchange. We get a couple elbows by Anderson. We get a couple chops by Anderson into the corner. We get a headbutt by Moxley. After that, works on Anderson in the outside. Anderson then proceeds to hit a suplex on Moxley on the ramp. Anderson works on Moxley on the outside. After that, we get a couple chops by Moxley and then a couple rights. We get a cutter by Anderson on the rope to the neck of Moxley, which looked devastating. We get a drop kick by Anderson on Moxley. Moxley returns to the ring. Anderson with a couple right hands on Moxley into the corner. Spine buster by Anderson. We get a cover and a near fall. Anderson goes to the top. We get a couple right hands by Moxley. Moxley goes to the top. He bites the eye of Anderson. And after that, Moxley proceeds to hit the superplex on Karl Anderson. After that, Anderson hits Moxley with a kick. A release German suplex by Moxley. We get a boot by Anderson. We get a clothesline by Moxley. We get a double clothesline by both. We get a stereo clothesline after that. Moxley applies the sleeper hold on Anderson. We get a couple knees by Moxley. We get a tombstone pile driver by Anderson on Jon Moxley. After that, we get a cover into a near fall. Anderson proceeds to go to the middle rope. We get a cutter by Anderson, cover and a near fall. Then Moxley misses a paradigm shift. Anderson then hits a cutter on Moxley. Moxley is bleeding from the nose, so he's getting some color in this match. Then after that, Anderson with the cutter again. We get a cover and a near fall. Anderson is on the top. He tried to go to the top but misses. Moxley proceeds to hit the paradigm shift and wins the match. Moxley retains the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. Overall thoughts on this match. This was a really good match to see. Of course, the second time in Dynamite's history that we had the IWGP US title being defended. And quick note, I will say, throughout this entire show, Dynamite felt like a Dynamite from from late 2019, early 2020, as a lot of other people on social media and on YouTube have said. This felt like a pre-pandemic AEW, and that's what I really enjoyed about the show. Everything on this show was important for the most part, and this match was no exception. This was a really good match to see. But after the match, we got a backstage segment with Lance Archer talking about Jon Moxley retaining the IWGP US title. He talks about him losing the title to Moxley. After that, he says it's time for his rematch and says that they had a Texas death match in Tokyo, Japan, down in New Japan, and says that next week on Dynamite, they should have a Texas death match. So, we're most likely going to be having a Texas death match. I believe it was already announced, but Jon Moxley is going up against Lance Archer for the IWGP US title in a Texas death match on Dynamite. I'm excited to see. I love the fact that the IWGP US title, as someone who doesn't watch New Japan, this is a treat to us, the fans. Not only that, to the people that do watch New Japan, this is also a treat for them. But it goes to show you that AEW cares about the wrestling business, and not only that, it gives people who haven't watched any New Japan, even like a couple of the matches that they haven't seen. I've seen a couple of New Japan matches, but not all. But a lot of other people that haven't seen New Japan at all, it's great to see that exposure. And Jon Moxley, of course, he is the current IWGP US champion, and he will go up against Lance Archer next week. We get an interview with Andrade El Idolo. He has a question for Tony Khan, and he asks, where is the Death Triangle? And he says that he is looking for the Death Triangle. Ooh, so we're probably going to be getting a little bit of a teaser. I mean, I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't know where this is going, but, I mean, come on now. I mean, I'm really excited to see, a lot of people were coming up with the scenario of, hey, we should have Thea Trinidad come in and, partner up with Andrade El Idolo, but we all know that is not the case considering the fact that Zelina Vega made her return to WWE 2 weeks ago. So who else is left? I mean, AEW has Death Triangle. They have PAC in the centerpiece, and they also have Pentagon and Phoenix. So a lot of people were saying maybe Andrade can team up with Pentagon and Phoenix, which I think would be absolutely awesome. They would be a really awesome trio. I mean, not only that, AEW is most likely coming out with trios titles, and you never know what could happen. So I'm really excited to see where this is going. All right, Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks for the FTW the World Championship. Overall thoughts on this match. This was a really awesome match, especially the ending. Of course, Taz, as always, if any Team Taz member is wrestling, Taz is on commentary. But overall thoughts on this match. This was a really awesome match to see. The match starts. We get a couple right hands by Brian Cage. Cage picks up Starks, drops Starks, sends Starks in each corner. We get a kick by Starks in the stomach. Cage kicks Starks in the stomach. My bad, I read wrong. We get a running power slam by Brian Cage. We get a cover and a kick out. Cage misses, and Starks works on Cage. Targets Cage's shoulder. Starks goes to the middle rope, then hits a missile dropkick. Starks works on Cage during the entirety of the picture-in-picture commercial break. Once we're back from break, we get a cover by Starks and a near fall. We get a shoulder tackle by Cage on Starks. Starks, after that, grabs the FTW title. Cage hits Starks and grabs the belt. He pulls Starks' shoulder to the post. Starks later clotheslines Cage in the outside. After sliding under the bottom rope, we get a sleeper hold by Starks. Cage sends Starks into the corner. After that, Cage tries to hit the German suplex. He plants Starks with a driver. We get a cover and a near fall when Starks' foot was on the rope. After that, Starks misses a tornado DDT. Cage with the thrust kick. We get a cover and a near fall. He goes to the top, picks up Starks. Starks proceeds to escape. After that, Cage picks up Starks and Starks grabs the FTW title, but Hobbs takes it back. After that, Cage picks up Starks and plants him to the mat. We get a cover and a near fall. Hook at this point is distracting the referee, and what happens is that while he's distracted the referee, Hobbs hits Cage with the FTW title, and what happens after that is Ricky Starks proceeds to spear Brian Cage, and the cover, 1, 2, 3, Ricky Starks is your new FTW champion. What are my thoughts on this match? This was an awesome match, especially the end, as I stated earlier. I loved the fact that there was a little bit of a swerve going on. You thought that Hobbs was on the side of Brian Cage, and you thought there was going to be a little bit of tension with Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, but apparently that is not the case. They booked it the other way around after by having, of course, Hook distracting the referee. Not only that, you had you had Powerhouse Hobbs, Will Hobbs. You basically had Will Hobbs just hit Brian Cage with the FTW title. Starks hits the spear and 1, 2, 3. That was an awesome finish for the match. Ricky Starks is your new FTW champion. Now, granted, that title is not an official title by AEW, but of course that title has been around in ECW. That's where it originated. It originated in ECW. But I mean, of course, it's still a title in the eyes of the fans and in the eyes of Taz. So Ricky Starks is your new FTW champion. Awesome moment. It was a really good match to see. Let's hope that, goes on. And for Brian Cage, most likely, I mean, like Taz was celebrating as well. Most likely, this is it for Brian Cage in the faction of Team Taz. Out of nowhere, Cody comes on commentary, and this felt exactly like WCW. Basically, what happens is that Cody comes in out of nowhere. He goes on the commentary desk, and he basically rants on Malakai Black attacking or hitting the black mask on Arn Anderson and also on Cody Rhodes after last week at the Road Rager show. He's angry about attacking Arn Anderson. After that, he grabs a microphone. He calls out Malakai Black or Tommy End. I prefer to call him Tommy End, but I botched his name last week, so that's my fault. Malakai Black is on the Tron, basically tells a random story, which I didn't understand, to be honest. No offense. But basically just cuts a promo, and he was basically being Tommy End. He was basically being himself, and you can definitely tell that this was creativity, not by AEW, but by Tommy End himself. He basically told a story about, success, all that stuff, and says that when he looked at Arn and Cody last week, he says he wasn't there. Then Cody replies with, just screaming at Arn just to come out of the ring. The lights go down, ECW style with Sabu. The lights go back up. What happens? Malakai Black is in the ring. And a lot of people have said this. Don't quote me on this. A lot of people had said this, and I 100% agree that once they were brawling, people loved the illusion. And I agree wholeheartedly. I really liked this too. That, it's like a really good story of good versus evil, with the storytelling and the illusion of them wearing their, of course, Cody wearing his white suit and Malakai Black wearing his black suit. That was a really, really awesome illusion and a really awesome little piece of storytelling, and that was really awesome to see. Both proceed to brawl, and after that, they get separated. Most likely, this is not finished, and we're definitely going to be seeing this match happen, most likely at the All Out pay-per-view September 5th. So I do believe, I have this belief that this match is going to be having a long build to it. All right. We get an interview with Tully Blanchard backstage. Bro, Alex Marvez is literally teleporting everywhere throughout this entire show. Runs into Santana and Ortiz and talks about they're about to attack Tully Blanchard but don't. And then they basically said that they were told to respect their elders. After that, we get another really good segment of the evening. Tony Schiavone interviewing Hangman Adam Page. So basically, Hangman talks about him wanting to be AEW champion since day one. As you guys know, ever since the inception of AEW, they were telling the story of Hangman Adam Page. Of course, he had that first match with Chris Jericho 2 years ago at All Out in Chicago, which saw Chris Jericho become the first ever AEW champion. Hangman later on says that he failed and he tried to run from it, of course, by drinking and all that stuff, and says that he still needs that championship. It says that he is here tonight to challenge for the AEW title, but around the same time he said that, Don Callis interrupts and the rest of the Elite, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and the Good Brothers come out. Callis says that when Hangman looked into the mirror, he saw that he's not that guy. Then, all of a sudden, Matt Jackson got a little bit of a piece of the action. He comes in the ring and goes straight at Hangman's face. And what happens is that, he says that he abandoned them and says that he left them for a bunch of losers. He left them for a bunch of losers and says that he is still hitting the bottle and says that he is the person to blame himself and says that Hangman is the next great wrestling tragedy. Holy shit, that was a burn right there, as Michael Kelso would say. So after that, Hangman Adam Page gets pissed and he hits a right hand on Matt Jackson and then tries to take out the Elite. Omega tries to hit Hangman with the title. The Dark Order come out to make the save. Hangman after that wants a match, but then Omega wants a 5-on-5 match, elimination style. So basically we didn't get the full announcement of Hangman versus Adam Page, but we got a 5-on-5 announcement. And Hangman says that that was not the match he wanted, and says that if they win, he not only gets a shot at the AEW World title, but also gets a shot No, the Dark Order gets a shot at the tag titles. Then Omega comes into the ring and says that they get nothing in exchange, and says that if Hangman and the Dark Order lose, they lose their shots. So after that, the crowd is just going completely apeshit, and says that it will be a pleasure when Cowboy Shit will be belt collector. That's what Omega stated. And Omega says that the Dark Order does not back down for a fight and that they are in. So what are my thoughts on this segment? Of course, I feel like they've been doing this slow build for a long time. And I remember when they started building towards this match, I was like, I think they're doing it a little bit too early. But, I mean, at the same time, you have to look completely back in the beginning of AEW, even before AEW. I mean, they've been building to this for a long period of time, and they're going to definitely continue to do that slow build before the actual announcement even happens with Omega versus Hangman, because I do believe that match is definitely going to be happening in Chicago September 5th at All Out. But overall thoughts on this segment, man, this was a really, really good segment. I really enjoyed this segment. This was fun to watch. Never in my life I've been so excited just to watch a segment. This segment did not feel like anything that I would see from WWE, in my opinion. This felt like legit. Like, this legit was like a really awesome segment because of the way everything was done. You know, of course, you thought the segment was over, but in reality, the segment really wasn't over. That's what I really enjoyed about this segment, and I loved the fact that, you know, you had not only Omega came in, but also Don Callis and Matt Jackson came into the fray as well, so that was actually pretty good to see. Next, we got a backstage interview with Le Champion, Chris Jericho. He talks about the 5 layers of Jericho and says that MJF uses Greek mythology to get what he wants. Jericho says that he does not care who he puts in the ring with him. And then he basically states that he will ruin MJF's life. Shawn Spears, after that, comes in out of nowhere and hits Jericho with the steel chair. MJF comes in and says that his first match with Shawn Spears is next week, and that the stipulation is that Shawn Spears can use the chair, but Jericho cannot. What are my thoughts? Okay, a lot of people, I mean, were saying that it was probably going to be against the entire Inner Circle, which I didn't think was the case. I definitely thought it was going to be against the Pinnacle. But, of course, we got Shawn Spears versus Chris Jericho next week. I'm definitely excited to see what they do with the stipulation regarding the chair, because Shawn Spears is going to be the one using the chair and Jericho is not. I'm going to see. Let's see what type of booking decision AEW does next week, because I'm going to be 100% honest. This entire show really got me excited from top to bottom. Really got me excited for next week's show, which is Fyter Fest Night 2. But we got Chris Jericho versus Shawn Spears from the Pinnacle next week on Dynamite. Here's another good match that I really enjoyed. Matt Hardy versus Christin Cage, the Instant Classic. This was a really good match. For two of them being veterans, this was a really awesome match to see. The match starts, both lock up, both are still locked up and lead it to the outside. We get a side headlock by Cage. Cage goes to the back of the ring. We get a right hand by Cage, slides on the ring and drops Hardy onto the apron face first. We get a double axe handle leap by Cage on Hardy from the top rope on the outside. DDT by Cage. We get a cover into a near fall. Cage works on Hardy into the corner. We get repeated rights. After that, Hardy hits a DDT on Cage on the steel steps. Elbows to the throat of Cage. Chokes Cage to the bottom rope. We get a neck breaker by Hardy. Cover into a near fall. Cage fights back. We get a catapult by Hardy on Cage onto the second rope. Elbow drop by Hardy. We get a cover into a near fall. Hardy works on Cage during the commercial break. Hardy goes to the middle rope. Cage drops Hardy. We get a right hand by Cage. Then another right hand by Cage. We get an uppercut. Then a cover into a near fall. Hardy misses the twist of fate, and then Cage, a little tribute to Edge, hits the spear. After that, after the spear, we get a cover into a near fall. We get a right hand by Hardy. Then after that, Cage goes to the top and hits a frog splash. We get a cover into a near fall. Cage goes to the top again. Hardy fights off Cage off the top. Hardy hits a superplex, cover into a near fall. Inside cradle by Cage, near fall. Cage tries to hit the kill switch, but Hardy distracts the referee and low blows Cage. Twist of fate by Hardy on Christin Cage. Cover into a near fall. Hardy locks in the leech on the outside. Goes back in. Then Cage beats the count of 9, which I actually thought he was going to lose via countout. Cage hits the kill switch and wins the match. Overall thoughts, I thought this was a really good match. Of course, the Hardy family surrounds The Hardy family is surrounding Cage, but then Jurassic Express come in to make the save. Overall thoughts on this match. This was a really good match. I really enjoyed the storytelling here. There's a lot of near falls in this match. I mean, both wrestlers still got it. Christian Cage looks great in 2021. Same as Hardy. Matt Hardy is awesome at what he does. Another wrestler that loves trying to reinvent himself and trying to stay relevant, and which Matt Hardy is still relevant in 2021. That's what I really enjoy. We get a video package of the TNT champion, Miro, and basically reveals a new colored TNT title. What are my thoughts? I thought that was a really nice reveal. We got a new TNT championship. Overall thoughts, I mean, it's only going to be for Miro. I feel like once he drops the belt, he's definitely they're going to revert back to the black strap, but I really like the white strap on that belt. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, interview with Tony Schiavone. Basically, she hugs Tony and talks about going through a table. Says that they don't worry about her. She says that they don't. She tells the fans do not worry about her well-being. It says that the blood stopped and the healing began, and talks about Nyla Rose. Says that she beat her multiple times. It says that she is off the menu. Says that Nyla needs to keep any type of relevance, and says that the title. She says that with the title, she is the hottest thing in pro wrestling, but even without the belt, she is still Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Of course, Britt Baker's first challenger is Nyla Rose. You guys already know my thoughts on Nyla Rose. I thought she was great in the beginning, but I feel like she kind of went downhill after she dropped the AEW Women's title. But I do think Britt Baker and Nyla Rose are absolutely going to kill it. What are my thoughts? I thought this was going to be a really good match. Jon Moxley backstage basically says that Lance Archer's never stopping to go after him. Says that there is one boogeyman in AEW and also in New Japan, and that is Jon Moxley. And says next week, Archer is Texas dead. So, of course, continuing on that feud with Lance Archer and Jon Moxley, they're going to have a Texas death match next week at Dynamite on Fyter Fest Night 2. I'm excited. Wheeler Yuta versus Sammy Guevara. So, after that, the Blade and the Bunny are watching from the sides. So the match starts. This match was really good, by the way. Sammy Guevara looks great, as usual. Both lock up. Yuta with a shoulder tackle. We get a drop kick by Guevara. Sammy shows off. We get an elbow by Yuta. Guevara's hits a power slam. Sammy misses a moonsault, lands on his feet, and misses another. He misses the moonsault, stands up, misses the second moonsault, and then proceeds to hit the standing shooting star press on Yuta, which looked awesome. Sammy goes to the top. He misses the shooting star, but Yuta gets his knees up. We get a back elbow by Yuta. We get a missile drop kick. Yuta with the German suplex. Then he goes to the top, hits a splash. We get a cover into a 1 count. We get a right forearm by Yuta. Both exchange shots. We get a couple chops by Guevara. Up and over by Guevara. Enziguri by Sammy Guevara. Guevara with the springboard cutter. And then we get a GTH by Sammy Guevara. The same move he beat Sean Spears at Double or Nothing and wins the match. Overall thoughts on this match. This is a really good match. Wheeler Yuta, this is the first match I've ever seen of Wheeler Yuta. He looked really good in this match. Not only that, Guevara, as usual, is definitely the future of AEW. He is, in my opinion, he's one of the best wrestlers that AEW has right now. He's really talented in the ring, knows what to do, knows how to work, and I really enjoy what they're going to be doing with Sammy Guevara regarding, this whole Pinnacle versus Inner Circle segment. And I'm excited about what they're going to be doing with Sammy Guevara after that feud. But Wheeler Yuta looked great. Apparently he was on AEW Dark, but I don't know that to be sure. I don't know that for sure. I do think he was on Dark, but I don't watch Dark. So, yeah. Tony Schiavone with QT Marshall in the factory, and then basically what happens during this is QT pours coffee on Tony Schiavone. What else can go wrong? Penelope Ford versus Yuka Sakazaki. Of course, Yuka Sakazaki, she was in the beginning of AEW, but when the pandemic started, she did not. She wasn't in a lot of those Dynamite shows. I believe she was in that women's tournament for Full Gear. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. The match was pretty good. It was not the best match in the world, but it was not a bad match. The match starts. Both lock up. We got a side headlock by Yuka Sakazaki. We got a waist lock by Ford. Drop kick by Yuka Sakazaki. Springboard cannonball by Yuka. We get a cover into a near fall. Penelope fights back. Ford works on Yuka during the commercial break. Both Ford and Yuka exchange shots. We get a suplex by Yuka on Ford, sliding clothesline by Yuka Sakazaki. We get a kick by Yuka. After that, we get a diving back elbow by Yuka. We get a kick by Ford, cover, and a near fall. Yuka spins Ford and gets dropped face first, which looked crazy. Yuka goes to the top, hits a splash on Penelope Ford, and wins the match. Yuka Sakazaki, great homecoming for Yuka Sakazaki. I definitely think she's gonna have many more matches in AEW, and I do think she's gonna have a pretty good run there because the pandemic kind of postponed that for her. But she was in the beginning of AEW. I remember that match. I believe she had at FYTER Fest. I believe she was at the first Double or Nothing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember. The only things I remember from the first Double or Nothing, of course, was Jon Moxley, Cody versus Dustin, Omega versus Moxley, all those other things. But the women's match, I completely forgot about. That's just me. But Double or Nothing was a really good show. Darby Allin versus Ethan Page in the Coffin match. What are my thoughts on this Coffin match? This is the first time ever that a Coffin match has happened in AEW's history. I did state my thoughts on Ethan Page earlier. I wasn't the biggest fan of Ethan Page, but I feel like the past couple of weeks, Ethan Page was starting to grow on me regarding his promos. He's really good in the ring, but I was never the biggest fan of Ethan Page. I was a fan of Ethan Page when he was with Josh Alexander in the North when he was in Impact. But I remember that last segment with Ethan Page at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. I thought it was really bad, and I thought it was really cringe in my opinion. But this match with Darby Allin in the Coffin match, I really enjoyed it. So the match starts. Darby goes after Page. Darby, at this point, he goes after Page and hits him in the back. He hits him from his back in the corner. And what happens is that Darby Allin basically pulled a Bret Hart, but the other way around. So basically what happens is that he takes off his shirt and reveals that he had a steel plate on the back of his back. And that was pretty dope. Of course, I stated he pulled a Bret Hart because Bret Hart did the same thing when he speared Goldberg back in 1999 on Nitro. So he drops Page after that. Scorpio Sky was hiding in the casket, and Scorpio Sky proceeds to attack Darby. Sting comes in out of nowhere and makes the save, and Sting got a huge pop. Sting and Sky brawl in the crowd. Sting misses a Stinger Splash, drops Sky after that, hits Sky with the garbage can. They proceed to brawl in the crowd. After that, Page misses Darby Allin and sends himself over the guardrail. Both Page and Darby brawl in the crowd. During the break, Darby tries to drop Page, but Ethan catches him. Ethan Page after that is in control. Darby goes back in the ring. He gets thrown face first onto the steel steps. Darby goes to the top but misses an elbow, and Page counters with the shoulder tackle. Page grabs the steel hook, drives the hook in Darby's throat. Later on in the match, Darby drives the hook onto Page. We got a sliding kick in the steps by Darby. Page almost went in the casket. Both Page and Darby brawl onto the casket. We got a right hand by Page. Darby fights back. Up and over by Page on the outside. Page is busted open. He picks up Darby on the top of the steps. Darby escapes, hits a stunner. Darby goes to the top and comes in. We get an Ego's Edge from the top by Page on Darby on top of the steel steps, which looked devastating. Not only that, he gouges. After that, later on, Darby Allin gouges the eye of Ethan Page. He grabs the skateboard, goes to the top. He drops Page onto the skateboard. He puts him in the casket. Darby Allin wins the Coffin match. Then after that, he hits the coffin drop again through the casket onto Ethan Page, and the show ends. Overall thoughts on Dynamite, quickly, this was an amazing show. The casket match was amazing. Every match from top to bottom felt important, in my opinion. The crowd went rampant. I believe it was in Austin, Texas. The crowd in Austin was amazing. FYTER Fest Night 1 was awesome, and it really gets me excited for FYTER Fest Night 2. So that was FYTER Fest, and please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications. Follow me on social media on Instagram and Twitter, and this is Broken Havoc. Signing out.